there's supposed to be a little bit of wind today. There's supposed to be a bit of sun today, and it's supposed to be 21 degrees Celsius, would you believe? So all that remains to be seen. At the moment, we're being covered by this film of fog. It was very foggy coming here. We were driving through the fog and there was wet on the window from it, and you had to use your wipers. But if you look here, the sun is there. It is trying to break out from behind the clouds. So, who knows what day we'll have today. All I know is it's a northerly today again. We don't like the northerlies. So I've actually put the outboard on today because that way we can just motor home and not have to worry about like 3 million tacks and the wind dying on us like last week. So yeah, I love sailing, but sometimes it can be a chore in these northerlies, especially if you're trying to get back. The outboard also gives us the option to go as far down the lake as possible, and we know we're never more than 45-50 minutes away from home. So today's going to be about a bit of a shakedown for everything we haven't yet shook down. First of all, we've got to shake down the outboard. We've not used that outboard since we've this season. We may get the spinnaker up again. If it stays like this, we probably will. I've got my camera, my 360 camera, we're going to give a bit of a shakedown. We also need to shake down the new drone. It's just the new Mini 3 Pro. I got that on insurance, by the way. Thoroughly recommend the DJI insurance. What else do we need to shake down today? I need shaking down a little bit, I'm not going to lie. That's it, I think, other than me. Yeah, so the idea is to get in the boat, get going. Going to take my food with me. I'm going to have a coffee first before we go. And then I was going to go over to the Adventure Centre, but I don't know if the cafe's open yet. So I'm not going to risk it because, yeah, I'd quite like a cup of coffee now. So I'm going to get myself ready and then we're going to get off and have a sail. Oddly enough, I've lost the little DJI bracket that goes into my mizzen mast. I thought it may have got knocked out, maybe, but it's gone. It's vanished. I've crawled into the transom locker to see if it's in there, and absolutely nada, nothing. So where that's gone is weird. Has someone been on the boat? I don't think so. But, yeah, so we're going to be a little bit limited with the cameras today. I think what I might do is put my DJI on the mizzen, because I've got a spare bracket on the top of this. And then we'll use the 360 cam as our main hand cam. Hey, listen, it'll give it a go, won't it? Here you go. It'll give it a really good test, actually, won't it? So that's what we'll do. It's no big deal. I was hoping to have, we use the mizzen cam as our hand cam. Sometimes we'll interchange, because to be honest, if you're having three cameras on the go at once, is probably a little bit overkill, to be honest with you. So I thought I'd just pre-warn you of that. We're going to have a cup of coffee before we get off. Oh, it felt like I had water in it. That I did wonder why. And then we'll crack on. So with this, all we need to do, give it a wiggle. Try not to lose the chock. I need to screw that on here, and then, I think it's best to put this away. Oh, that's quite stiff. Maybe we'll have a look at that. Hang on. Maybe a little bit of oil. It might be that as it spun round, it might be the case that it's tightened it up a little bit. So maybe a little bit of oil wouldn't go amiss on there, actually. But look, that's done, and I can sort of stow that, and it's got a good chance of not breaking now. Why is the bilge pump on this one? That's really weird. There we go. Well, good test though, isn't it? So that's working, and now all we have to do basically is get that slid in. And that's it, there she is, look. That cleat is still so big it's more than usable, so we're fine there. And then that, there you go, it's bang on. So I've altered it a little bit because I just felt I wanted that just at the waterline, and then this one wasn't usable before, but now I'm hoping I can get on that one, and that one will be my next one, and hopefully the one at the bottom we could get rid of even. But as you know, this just stows like this. A few more little bits and bobs for the spares kit, little silicone plugs, some more metal, this little stainless steel sheet metal just for to help with the little clips on the rudder bearing. I've got some spare threaded inserts, one of these little things, toggles, whatever, some more extra brackets, just a bit of a replenishment there. So that's going to go in the spares box. Right, we've pretty much done everything we can today, apart from one thing, and that is going to be a little project. This is my new camera, the Insta360X4. Had a little test and play around in the garden with it yesterday, and I have to say, first impressions are I'm not particularly impressed. It's very grainy. If you go online, you'll see that the Insta-X3 had the same problem, and this one has the same that problem. Seems to me the firmware prefers ISO to exposure control for the auto. So the workaround at the moment is to put it into manual mode, and then have your ISO as low as it will go, and use your exposure to kind of get a bit of brightness in the picture. But when you're on a boat and it's up there, or have it out somewhere, that's the whole point of a 360 camera. That's not ideal when, the sun could go behind the clouds and come back again. So we've got all so jury's out on that. It looks to me like after a firmware update or two, these get a hell of a lot better. In all fairness, the camera I'm on now, the DJI Action 4, this is the 4, but I have got the 3s as well. They were grainy as well in low light, and they brought out, DJI are brilliant with firmware updates. They brought out quite a few updates, and it really tweaked the camera, and it works really well now. Give her a good old push out. Always go stern first on this boat. That's right. It's quite shallow still. But that's what we do it. Look, sunshine. We'll get some sea room. We'll try not to run tadpole over. These moorings are getting busy. Some really tight ones there to get out of. When they've got big boats on them, there's not going to be much room. Look at that sun, shadows. This is the Insta 360. Hopefully it's going to give us some good video this today. I've got it on one camera only at the moment. The Mizzen is slightly twisted. I think it's gone the wrong way round. We'll sort that out in a minute. But if we get the Mizzen out, the boat will point her bow into the wind, so we know where the wind's coming from a bit better then. Gonna get the little retainer ready that I use. Well, I'll leave that like that. Right, finally we can get underway. Now what I might do is put this boom on the Mizzen now, because what I've never done is reached with it. Pull the main in a tickle. Got a lot of main sheet. There's way too much main sheet. Which way are we going, Lulu? That way. Okay. Okay, we've caught the wind this way. And off we go. There we go. We are wing on wing. We're sailing. There we go. So the reason you pole things out is to just open as much sail area to the, and you see the Mizzen there as well. Look at that. To the wind as you possibly can. Excuse me. When you're running, all your sails are really doing is none of the aerofoil science. They're just big sheets designed to just catch the wind. They're like bags. That's all they're really doing. Look at the jib flapping. That needs a little bit more. There you go. And yeah, we're doing a very pleasant 3.5 miles an hour. Would have been nice to get the spinnaker out, but I just felt like wing on wing today. It's a lot more simple. 3.8 miles an hour, you may just be able to see on there. 3.9. You know, if we can do 4 miles an hour, that's what, 3.5 knots. Then, you know, in these conditions with my 3 main sails, the jib, the mainsail and the Mizzen out, then I'm not going to be lagging too far behind those wayfarers. My running on the sea trip we did to Aberfrau was pitiful, but did I have my jib stick? I must have had the jib stick, but I had no boom and I had no Mizzen boom, so the Mizzen, the mainsail, was practically useless. The wind was just spilling out of this W shape that it had, and likewise the Mizzen was this sort of curved shape. It was just, there was no power in the sails, you know. So I've got high hopes that we can keep up a little bit better. Now, in this sort of weather with the autopilot, when I've not got a shore coming, I'd be happy to try and get the spinnaker out as well. And just keep that option. On the sea, I'll probably keep my bowsprit out, you know, and for any ad hoc anchoring, we can just use the fairleads at the front. So, yeah. Oh, I can feel myself getting shaken out. That's what I needed. You can see how when you're running, you need the kicker. You can see, even in this light breeze, how the boom wants to pull up. Now, when you're beating, the boom is normally within the confines or the beam of the boat, because she's nice and tight. You would never beat with the boom out that far. It would always be at most on the gunnels of the boat. so you don't need the kicker when you're beating. You've got your retainer here at the back. So, but when you're beating, the retainer won't do that because you're going beyond the bounds of it. So that's why you need the kicker. Otherwise, in stronger winds, that boom can go whee all the way up, you know, with nothing to pull it down. So, because you've got so much main sheet out to get the boom out, it's got leeway. It can kind of come into the centre and go up. The retainer helps to a degree, but you know, the kicker, having the kicker, you know, you're safe. Someone asked why you have the Mizzen this side. So I've got the jib and the Mizzen are on port at the moment, and the main is on the starboard. It's because the Mizzen's nearer the main, and to be honest with you, your main's the biggest sail, and you don't want the Mizzen to steal any air that could hit that sail. There's a big gap between the Mizzen and the jib, so you've got more likelihood of air getting in this gap, and it's not gonna steal the air from the jib as much. You can furl the Mizzen if you want. If I'm flying the spinnaker, I think I furl the Mizzen. More because it's one less thing to worry about. But I think if you've got the spinnaker out, yeah, you don't want the Mizzen up as well. I don't think that. We're finding the Mizzen's giving us about half a knot, maybe, which isn't an awful lot. The good thing about running is that you are generally aiming straight for where you want to go. So not only are you know, getting speed, got a bit of a puff there, 4.2, but not only are you getting speed, 4.4, sorry, you can hear the rush of the water speed up a bit, can't you? But not only do you pick up speed with all the sails boomed out, but you're also kind of generally, you're pointing to where you want to go. You're not having to tack and zigzag or jibe and zigzag. Sometimes it's better to broad reach and jibe because the speed offsets the distance that you would travel further doing that. Broad reaching and jibing is more exciting. Sometimes on the sea you can't do that. You know, you want to head for somewhere, you know, and you know if you've got an average speed and an average distance somewhere, you can work that out quite quickly if you're running, because it's a straight line. If you're beating, you haven't really got any option. You have to beat and you have to zigzag. You can fly closer to the wind and go slower and but less tacks. This boat really, I've still not learned this lesson, but this boat likes to come off the wind a bit, a few extra tacks, but the speed should make up a little bit for that. She does beat better with that boom as well, to get that shape in the sail better. Yeah, she does like that. Otherwise, if you want to do a straight line when you're into the wind, the only option is the outboard, or rowing, of course. Someone told me oars are gentlemen's outboards. So we don't want to be sailing. We're sailing a bit southerly here. If we go southeasterly, about there, that's better. But we've obviously, we've got that peninsula. Let's just bring the Mizzen back. Come on, baby. Oh well. We just want to be careful. That peninsula gets quite shallow here. Let's bring the Mizzen back where she belongs. There we go. It's easy as that. With the boom on, you can just pull the boom and yank it. We're making really good headway. Look, 4.5 miles an hour now. can't argue with that, can you, in this slight wind? There we go. We're just on this peninsula here now. But look at this, we're flying. Very nice. This is a very, very nice sail. I've got the 360 cam just perched here. If that falls in, it's gone. So I'm just watching it like a hawk. But I'm trying to get all the shots, all the different angles we can get to see, you know, what's going to be the best one. Now this is an interesting angle. You're just sat in the middle here. One problem with this is that boom is going to whip you out, but it's worth the experiment. We're at the bottom of the lake. Look at this. I don't know how long that took, but it definitely wasn't an hour. 30 to 40 minutes. So we're actually going to have to get organised because we're running out of lake. So let me do that now. Kids ahoy. We're going to find ourselves a quiet spot over in the corner of the lake there. We don't want to get too close to that lee shore. It's quite hard to get out of it. So we might do a little bit of beating back over. We're going to head across the lake actually and just find a little spot along the shoreline here. I've got rid of the Mizzen, so the Mizzen's furled, and I'm going to aim for this sort of little foresty bit around here. Although, my word, just as we're trying to sort of anchor up, there is a good old breeze coming down the lake now. Now, if we anchor up here, they'll just give us a little bit more leeway if we have to run with the wind before we can get out. Although we've got the outboard with us, so we don't really have to worry too much. So we're getting quite close now. So I'm going to furl the Mizzen up. Two reasons for that. One, just slow the boat down. But two, the boat, she actually points a bit better with the main only. So if we do need to go upwind a little bit, we know we can. And third reason, I guess, it's just a bit easier to handle one sail than it is two sails, definitely. I'm almost going to ferry glide into this shore. Sun's out. So I've just been monitoring our position. There's a rock there, a big rock there, and we've not moved. The wind, actually the Mizzen's doing a great job of telling us where the wind is. Look. So the wind is, I would say it's pushing us about, we've gone past it now, but you can see there's like a fence or something in the middle of the lake there. That's where we're pointing. So if we were to drift, we'd probably go all the way into the bottom of the lake there. I did a ladder, I think my first ever ladder test down there, and it's really muddy at the bottom there. So I have to remember that. Never go for a swim there. Honestly, there was mud everywhere. Anyway, I'm hungry. So I'm gonna have some lunch. I've actually got another ham and mustard. I so enjoyed that ham and mustard last week. My mouth is salivating talking about it. But the king of sandwiches is back this week. Red Leicester and tomato ketchup, and the reason for that is that my team, Leicester City, we've not only secured promotion back to the Premiership Football League in the UK, in England should I say, but we've secured the title of the Championship this week. So we are the Championship title holders, title winners, and we're back in the Premiership. Like many other teams, we may have fallen foul of certain rules when it comes to profit and loss, so we may have a points deduction next season to start off with, which will be fun. But I just hope we can stay up, because, you know, with respect to all the teams in the Championship, it is far more exciting playing teams like Liverpool and Manchester United, and you know, than it is teams like Huddersfield and you know, and I think Rotherham and places like that. With the greatest respect, I mean, you know, so hopefully we're back where we belong. Hopefully we can stay up next season. That's all I care about. I'll always love this lake. It's where I learned to sail, and it's a cracking lake. It's a cracking place to sail. It can be beautifully serene and it can be evil windy, but it's still pretty safe. You know, you just don't get the sea state, you know, because there's not enough fetch. You can get some decent waves here, but for this boat, they're just tiddlers, you know, they're like speed bumps. But I'm outgrowing this lake now. Having just come back from all, you know, the lakes or the lake districts, I've realised that, you know, those lakes are significantly bigger than Bala here, actually. And, you know, we're definitely going to be going to see those this season. So sailing, you know, it's an ongoing thing. I think I'm learning now. There's those who race, and I think you get yourself a racing dinghy and you perfect that art, and you never get it, so you continue to perfect the art. And I think racing around the same buoys and markers that you race around, you know, it's always an adventure because the wind's always different. You can change the markers or the order. You know, it's like F1 in a way, isn't it? Even at the same place, you can have a multitude of different circuits. I think when you're learning, this lake it was an ocean to me when I first learned here. It really was. And the excitement I felt when I came to the bottom for the first time, I was like, oh, in my little mirror dinghy, it's like I'd sailed around the world, you know. But, you know, the world shrinks, doesn't it? This boat has made this lake shrink as well. This boat is, I was going to say too big for the lake, but she's not too big for the lake. But I want to adventure, and the wind's actually gone. Look, all the waves that we had has gone. So I know the weather can change, you know, in the drop of a hat here, but I think it's time for a motor. Right, it's so calm, we don't really need to worry at all, we're not drifting at all. So I've just switched the engine on. There we go, and we're off. So we're going across the wind now. We're broad reaching, beam reaching really, and I'll watch this. That is because the Mizzen, look, if we come the other way, just look, tiny bit, look at that. It's because as we do that, the Mizzen is pushing the boat, the stern, that way, which will push the bow that way. So as we try and turn into the wind, the mizzen is kind of stopping us. Look at that point there. So if we really give it some, we might need more power. Look at this. We actually can't make that turn. So if we give it a bit more power, and we'll just give it a bit more of a wow, we are still going. It's because look, the mizzen has flipped and now it's pushing the bow the other way. Look at that. So if we just release that mizzen for 2 ticks, then look at that. No problem at all. So what I was trying to demonstrate there was how good that this sail is at keeping the boat stable. And it's so good that you can just heave to with just this sail up. Now that got me thinking. So let's just put the boat on a bit more than that. We need to make a little bit of, we just put it on, we're on about 200 watts. That's a nice pootling speed. And now we're going to see if we can almost get the boat on autopilot. Now let's push that tiller as well. That seems to be as far as this boat wants to go with the mizzen out. Now you don't want the rudder hauled over to one side because it's inefficient, but as a autopilot this is pretty cool. So let's see if we can, I'm not touching the tiller at all, look, I've just got the mizzen in my hand. Let's see if we can point the boat up the lake and then tight as B there, and then let's see if we can balance the boat. Sun is officially out. We've been literally on autopilot all the way back. We're at Market E now. The White House is here, so we're not far at all. Just been pootling along at half speed, and I've literally just had to tweak the tiller now, and it's allowed me to look, I've got the gaff and the mainsail down, all strapped up, ready to go. The jib's all ready to go. Main mast and the lines are all tied up. So if you're in a rush to get home, which I kind of am sometimes, unfortunately I've just looked at the traffic and it looks dire. It took me 2.5 hours to get home last week, which was hell. With my bad back, one of the places I do not like to be is sat in a car or a van. So yeah, that wasn't pleasant, should we say, and it wasn't pleasant being in traffic for 2.5 hours. And then of course on the motorway it's like very stop-start, and you know, it's just generally not great, is it? Those of you that live in the UK will know exactly what I'm on about. So interestingly, I've taken the mizzen down, stowed everything ready, look. So we're really ready to drop the boat off. But as soon as the mizzen, especially, and the rudder's out, sorry. So as soon as the rudder's out and you're relying on the motor, yeah, you have so much more response. I mean, look at this, look. Because the motor's like a super rudder. But it means that it's really hard to control the boat. Like, you have to be right on it, especially going into the wind. You know, as soon as you see the boat going, you have to just, there you go, then steer back to starboard, see, look, and then it comes around. If you leave it, look, watch, it just gets worse and worse and worse. There we go. So, it's so interesting, isn't it, how one boat can be configured so many different ways, and it's so interesting to me. It's quite exciting, really. Here we are. I always make the mistake of running up forward for my strop, but actually all you need to do is come up alongside tadpole there, and just go grab it. Now I'm going to come along this side, actually, so the strop's going to be to port. God, there's a noisy chainsaw going on over there. There we go. And you can basically grab anything. So you can grab, the important thing to do is make sure you switch the motor off. There we go. The tadpole is actually connected to the strop. And there she is. Now, one thing you have to be careful of, or remember to do, is to make sure you connect or just connect tadpole up. So tadpole always goes on here, and she then drops back to the perfect spot. I'm gonna have to do this now. I can't do it on the camera because I've got the strop, I think it's gone under the boat, but it's not a big worry. You just have to take your time. Things will sort themselves out, but I can't do it with one hand. The weather's arrived that we were talking about today. So there's Lulu, happy on her mooring again. I always worry I've forgotten something, but I think I've done everything. It's hard work lugging all my kit back when I've got the outboard and everything, but you know, it is what it is. We would never have got back in time, I don't think, if we couldn't have used the outboard. So that's one of the, you know, good reasons for having an outboard, isn't it? Anyway, sun's come out. I'm going to take this jumper off because I'm boiling. I'm going to get myself home. Thanks for watching. I hope that was interesting. I tried to put something new in. We also gave the boat a really good shakedown. We might be down here next week. It is school holidays soon though, so I might not be down here for a week. We'll see. But I've got plenty to be doing at home, so there'll be definitely some projects videos coming out, if nothing else. And I've got some really big news, to be honest with you, and I'm just waiting for it to be ready. And you know, I'll let you know that in due course, but in the next couple of weeks, I think. And yeah, we'll be I'll announcing a few things. So yeah, with that in mind, I shall see you next time, whether it be fixing a boat, mending stuff, or sailing, I don't know, but we're going to be on the sea soon. Bye bye.